There's some great real estate in Foo, beautiful spots that bring new meaning to the word gorgeous. I love the property above the Sun River and just below the Pillars of Rant. I also wouldn't mind buying a lot near the mountains at the edge of Morphit. But without a doubt, the long span of land on the backside of the Devil's Spiral, reaching over to the start of the Fate Mountains, is some of the most beautiful land in all of Foo. There isn't a bad blade of grass to be found growing anywhere on it. For this reason, most of the elite and pompous have filled the land with castles and mansions. They have also built many walls in an effort to keep the unelite from getting too close to them. It was down from one of those walls that Leven dropped, hitting the ground with a soft thud. The night was dark, but the large house in the distance was well lit. It sat there like a proud mother showing off all her rooms. The land was miles back from the Devil's Spiral, but the sound of rushing water could still be heard faintly in the distance. Leven waved, and Winter dropped down behind him. "Looks cozy," she whispered. Leven pulled his kill from behind his back and swung it forward. The long wooden staff glowed slightly at its top. "Geth should be in place by now," he said quietly. "Clover, you hear?" Leven felt something shiver on his right shoulder. "Good. Let's go." Leven stepped quietly along the wall and down through the brick courtyard. Large stone statues, shaped like Roven in various attack positions, lined the path. "Makes you feel so warm and welcome," Winter said. Leven looked at Winter and thought of Phoebe. The longing his grandfather had shown him before Lith was destroyed weighed constantly on his mind. He tried to shake off the feeling, but it was so powerful it kept creeping back into his soul. Looking at Winter only reminded him that Phoebe was still trapped. "I smell mice," Clover whispered, bringing Leven's thoughts back to the situation at hand. Winter pulled out her kilv. "I wish I could just freeze them," she said. "Mice?" Leven asked. Leven and Winter moved behind two statues and listened carefully. Leven could see a pack of large creatures running towards them. They were 3 feet high, with long legs and square noses that twitched as they ran. Their round ears and long, rubbery tails gave them a rodent-like silhouette. There were at least a dozen of them. "Those are the mice?" Leven complained. Winter didn't answer. She was too busy knocking the wind out of the closest one. The poor beast slid across the stone and up against a far statue. Leven looked at the creatures. Their faces were expressive, and he could see and feel what their small brains were thinking. Leven's heart pumped with confusion and then clarity. Without understanding his own actions, he stepped forward and held out his hands. The mice stopped and looked up at him. Their heads twitched and their feet tapped as if being forced to stay in place. "What are you doing?" Winter whispered. "I don't have any idea," Leven replied. The mice folded their legs inward and fell to the ground. "Wow," Clover said. "That's helpful." Leven and Winter stepped carefully through the large, resting creatures. "Seriously," Winter said, hushed. "How did you—" The sky said softly. "What?" Leven asked, looking around. The sky whispered. "Someone's calling my name," Leven said quietly. "Well, it's not me," Winter whispered. "I didn't hear anything." "Me neither," Clover said. "Sometimes the wind can sound like a person humming." "I don't think it's the wind." Leven shook his head. They moved closer to the house. Through the large side window, they could see someone sitting inside near a huge fire. "That's him," Winter said. "Noel." Noel was a traitor, a Lithan who had turned his back on Geth and Foo.